Yeah. So everybody know that I don't like cost cap for testing, but I really, really love them for scaling. I realized that 2 years for one Black Friday, man was like, okay, I have this scaling campaign, but like I realized that I don't want to have the same ad in a different campaign without a reason. So okay, if it's different optimization, okay, highest volume or highest
Highest volume and value.
value, yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So if I move that, or if I change the attribution setting, or if I add interest, that in my eyes tell Facebook, okay, this is slightly different. So I'm okay with kind of like I have the tests in my testing and I keep scaling them. Sometimes I get from 100 to 300. Sometimes I get from 100 to 5K just because tests work and I continue to increase the budget. When I move the winners into scaling campaign, so my scaling campaign is on 7-day click. I call this winners of the winners. It's like a gladiators arena. It's just one ad set and all of the winners. I don't care which ad is going to win because all of them are winners. And I'm comfortable using cost cap because all of them are winners. So if I put cost cap of 50, Facebook spending 55, I'm cool because it gives me volume. But I know it will never spend 80 because this is a proven ad. So I'm okay, leveraging manual bids for scaling. What you mentioned, Advantage Shopping Plus, the fact is that's the old Advantage Shopping Plus where we could define that percentage of spend for buyers. The thing is, like, I never turned it off. So in 7 out of, like, say, 10 ad accounts, I still have that OG Advantage Shopping Plus running. If I do not, then it's just one campaign with one ad set. As I said, I limit it to 7-day click because I found that that old Advantage Shopping Plus was doing a bit more retargeting regardless, similar setup. So I don't want Facebook over attributing on view sales that is not responsible. And what's the beauty of this weekend scaling? I realized that conversion rate is better because more people are on the phone. So I never knew to what extent I can scale on a weekend. I know I can scale, but I don't know whether I can increase from 1K to 2K or from 1K to 5K and how to increase that budget without actually disturbing it. So if you would like look a graph of my campaigns, Andrew, I think I shared that on the Elizabeth presentation. My testing campaign like goes like this because I just increased the budget of what's working. My interest campaign is like it's always steady. It's always on like let's say 5K. But the cost cap one is like it's like this. On Tuesday it spent I don't know 3K. On Thursday it spent 7K. On weekend it spent like 25K just because it can. And I'm okay getting a slightly higher CPA because it brings me volume.
I have a million follow-up questions and like randomly specific things. So I might be bouncing around a lot here. You mentioned the attribution settings. You mentioned a bunch of different things. Like you could change something about the campaign or the targeting or whatever. Like some of those settings to tell
Yeah,
Meta
yeah,
there's something different about this. Do
exactly.
you actually scale by changing? Like are you setting up maybe new ad sets with 7-day click, 7-day click, 1-day view, 7-day click, 1-day view, 1-day engage view, 1-day click? Are you actually playing with those as a scale mechanism at all?
So my first campaign is ABO testing on highest volume on 7-day click, 1-day view, unless there's too many view conversions. So basically, when I check into the ad account, if there's more than 25% view conversions and AOV is not 400 plus, I would use exclusively 7-day click. If everything looks fine, I would look 7-day click, 1-day view. Then I would move the winners into that audience campaign, as I mentioned. So that's kind of like, okay, that's a different direction because I'm using audience. And then the third direction is this 7-day click on manual bids, which is combining two different things. So I think I pretty much covered that. Sometimes recently I started playing with incremental attribution, or when the AOV is higher or there's like a lot of SKUs, then I would play with the volume. But I think I cover like 4 out of 5 things in those 3 campaigns of mine.
So you mentioned the OG ASCs and like the ability to set the percentage. Do you have like a playbook for retention campaigns or actually trying to go and reacquire customers?
Most of my customers do not want to like reacquire customers. Some I say like, okay, but like if someone did not bought from you for like, I don't know, 6 months, do you consider that person a new customer? If they say yes, then I would create a campaign, but I would create a separate campaign that's targeting. I would never allow that to be into my prospecting campaign because you can never trust Facebook with that. If you just go for the lowest conversion. So I would set up a different campaign going only for those customers. And that's mostly, in some skincare or clothing. And also during the promotions, brands are okay, they're fine with going after those customers. So then I would set up a campaign like that.
Yeah. I have a question about just overlap in general. Like you
Yeah.
have multiple campaigns, you have a ton of different ad sets going on. Do you concern yourself with overlap, or it's like, hey, the number is going up. I'll pay attention to CPMR or something like that, but like otherwise the number's going up. It's fine.
Yeah, so I think like I definitely track CPMR and frequency, and like I'm cool with leaving an ad active if it has a bad CPA, but it has a very low frequency because it tells me that it's feeding top of the funnel. But I'm not going to turn off an ad that has a good performance just because it has a bad CPMR. And I think that it is healthy conversation that like everybody are starting to measuring that. But I think we are going like in a bit like too extreme that like, okay, CPMR is better than the CPA. That like that's not the case. Obviously it is important, but it's also important that people see your ads multiple times. And when I have like, 30 different influencer, I have 10 different angles, I have, that creative diversification, they're not actually seeing one ad for 8 times. They're seeing like 7 different ads. So I think that actually also is beneficial to an extent. Obviously, I'm tracking that with a tool that Andrew and Kurt built, which is super helpful for net new reach. And that's obviously one of the metrics that I measure, as well as the percentage of new visits in Norbeam. But it's not, I'm not going to turn off a good ad just because it has a bad frequency.
Yeah.